Shirul Adonai kol haaretz. Shirul Adonai shir chadash. Shirul Adonai kol haaretz. Shirul Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along, all the earth, a new song unto God. Shirul Adonai kol haaretz. Shirul Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song. I will sing unto God a new song.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos to everyone who's here physically. Good Shabbos to all of you who are joining us on the webcast. It's good to come together as a community, and we encourage those of you who may like the convenience of watching it at home, but we hope that you will make your way here so that we can see you eye to eye and heart to heart physically here. Please make your way here. We enjoy seeing you. Well, it's a wonderful Shabbos. It was a pretty busy week, don't you think?
Yeah, we have 2 weddings this weekend.
Two weddings
And Sunday school.
and Sunday school.
And just a lot happening.
Yeah, but what about last weekend?
Yeah, the ADL walk against hate.
We not only did we go to the ADL walk against hate, we won the award for
The most money raised by a community and the most people walking.
So if you're watching, you're here, feel good. We did our part. And kol hakavod to those who planned the event, to
We should have
Jolie.
Magnolia come back up and do her
Oh,
speech. It was
where's
pretty powerful.
Magnolia? Where did
I
she
have it
go?
right here
She
on my
left.
Google Drive.
Yeah, you did a super job. Made us very, very proud. And I loved the left, right. That was great. It was real powerful. So a lot to give thanks. And let's usher in the Shabbos. 120, and Dina Mann has the honor of kindling the Shabbat lights. So let's bring in the light.
Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, may you have a peaceful day. Shabbat Shalom, may you have a restful day. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. Lehadlikner shel Shabbat, Lehadlikner shel Shabbat.
124. We read together at the top. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured. Beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. 142, we join in Shalom Aleichem.
Call upon the Shabbat angels. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mochem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We rise for the Baruch Hu, page 146.
As we turn the page, this is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai hamariv aravim.
Together, as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle within the truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Baruch Shem kevod malechuto le'olam vaed.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. May be seated.
We continue with Ve'ahavta, page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם.
Page 158, we celebrate the miracles with Mi Chamocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא, עושה פלא.
Let's try with the claps.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא, עושה פלא.
(161) Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, God, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom, Lishalom. Ve'ha'amidenu Shomreinu Lechayim. Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
I want to invite up Magnolia to help us in Vishamru and the Amidah because she is becoming a bat mitzvah next month. Okay, you can just do that one more time. Page 162.
Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam b'rit olam. Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam b'rit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam b'rit olam.
Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam b'rit olam.
Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash,
Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat ledorutam berit olam v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorutam berit olam.
We rise for the Amidah, our standing prayers. Page 164.
Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth
may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'nehem, L'mahan Shabo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Yezra Sarah. Atah Gibor Elam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol. Atah Rav leHoshia, Moshiv HaRuach u'Morid HaGashem. Mechakel Hayim behesed, Mehayei Hakol berachamim ramim. Somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umechayei emunato lishenei afar. Mihabo haba'al givurot, Umido melach, Melech me'mit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lehayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue in silent devotion through page 180, using the words on the right or the left side of the page or the words within your heart. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated.
Our Mishaberach prayer is found on page 371. And even as we take a moment to think of those in our circle of family and friends who are in need of our prayers, I'm so gratified to look out and see some people who I know have been sick for quite a while, and for them to make their way here upright, with fullness of heart. It reminds us of not only of the wisdom of doctors, of their resiliency, but the power of prayer, because we were praying for you. You should know you were never alone. So we think especially of Bessie. We think of Janine DeGilio, Josefa Deutsch, Helen Knowles, Susan Denton Pratt, Marlene Acosta, Betty Edelman, Dolores Starr, Faye Schoenfeld, Leo Schoenfeld. These are the names that were submitted to the office. If you want to say the name of someone special to you, please stand now, say their names. Jeff, two things.
Donald Schwartz, Sylvia Bernstein, Matthew Oakley, Muhammad Salah, Beth Iozitsky.
Always think of my mother and also my sister Dina. I think all of us also think of those who are caregivers who give of themselves to ensure that those who are going through sickness know that they are well cared for. So for everyone in our hearts, let's join together in the Mishaberach prayer.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Well, we have lots of angels in our congregation, people who give of themselves and their time for different mitzvahs. One of those unsung heroes is Carolyn, who, among her many mitzvahs, she makes calls for birthdays. Am I correct? Not this month, but other
That would
months.
explain the turnout. Thanks, Carolyn.
Now do you understand when you miss the mitzvah? You missed the mitzvah, and here I did a shout out. Well, we thank you for how many years of doing this? A long time. So thank you for all that. And now you can see, is there anyone here who's an October birthday? Come on up. Come on up, October birthdays. No, they love hearing your phone calls. Ring, ring, Carolyn called you. Come on up. Yeah. Yeah, do a shout out. Drop like a, she should have just taken the credit. There's more.
Oh, come on up.
We didn't do September's? You wait till next
Drop
year.
the
No,
ball.
come on up.
That's next month.
That's next month, yeah. I think we missed 1984. Anyone, come on. Jeff,
We got some on the.
Jeff, are you a September? Oh, okay.
We got a few shout outs on the live stream. We got Becky Mann was October 9th.
Oh, Becky, happy
and
birthday.
Heidi Cantor, October 27th.
All right. Careful, Jeff. He just got out of the hospital. Oh, God.
We can bless you from your
I
seat.
know. Maybe help guide him. All right, you guys, come on closer. All right, so when is your birthday? 7th. The 7th? Yes. Of October. Yes. I say that because someone, chimed in about September.
Okay, but Rabbi, you
what?
have to go there. I think it's my turn to do the blessing because it's your birthday.
But I haven't gotten to the blessing yet.
I know, but you have to stand there. If
Okay,
you're
you want
October 6th.
She just wants to
I
do
have
the
to do your whole
shtick.
spiel.
Go ahead, you do the shtick then.
All right, fine. So you're October 6th. You're October 7th. 20th. Okay, Meryl.
Oh,
you're before.
All the way over here. Yeah.
I still don't know why we put it all in order, but I'm just gonna go with it. Okay, and what was yours, Jim?
Jim, what's your birthday?
Okay,
20th.
all right, perfect. And then we have Jeff, who is moving himself. So.
Jeff, when's your birthday?
September
20th.
20th. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so now I have to ask you, what are the life lessons that you would like our congregation to learn, that you've learned in your many years? So we'll start with Marilyn.
When you're having a fight with your husband, just say yes, dear, and that's it.
I don't agree, but okay.
Yes, yes, dear.
Okay, Jeff, what have you learned?
I found out that praying can do a lot for you, not only as an individual, but now and then the good Lord listens and he acts. And for me, he did that.
Amen. Okay.
All right.
You have a microphone.
Oftentimes it's the ordinary every day that is the extraordinary in your life. So don't let what is before you become invisible, and cherish it and love it. No, you get to, you have control of the mic.
Okay.
See, it's a talk show host thing. You never let them hold the mic.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to say something that I said last year at this time, and that is introspection is the key to life. But I'm going to add one thing extra. Think sometimes before we verbalize.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, Barney.
I found that getting to this age, that I have a lot of gratitude to a lot of people, and I'm feeling very blessed.
We talked about this earlier, Gloria and I, and she said that the good thing is to spend your birthdays with your wife, and I have had that benefit for 37 years.
You love Glory? Why? I don't understand. She's just, so always gloomy and just kidding. I can see why you love her so much.
Good job, Glory.
Emmett loves her too. Glory, guitar. So, all right. Well, we want to bless all of you. You've blessed all of us with your abundant wisdom in just a matter of 60 seconds. And now we want to bless all of you close to our Torah in the Aron HaKodesh. So everyone please rise. And may your days be many. May they be blessed. May you not take one single moment for granted. And may the ability to be together, may that be something that is in your heart always and special to you and all of us. And may your journey from here out be one that is full and abundant and beautiful, and that this is one of many birthdays to come. So September and October, you blessed us with all of you, and now may you all be blessed as you go on your journey. So we want to say this very special priestly blessing. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. Can you hear Ratzon? May this be God's will. And we all sing, Siman tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'siman tov, Siman tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'siman tov, u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'siman tov, yehelanu, 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 u'lecho Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, u'lecho Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, u'lecho Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, u'lecho Yisrael. All right, have a wonderful year. Please be seated.
Well, one good thing about having a birthday near the beginning of the month, you get to celebrate it the whole month. It's been like a birthday of birthdays. Well, we are in Parashat Lech Lecha, one of our favorite portions. You know, it's about Abraham and the journey of the first Jew. So before he was called Abraham, does anyone know what his name was? Yes? Abram, right. And his wife's name was not Sarah, it was Sarai. So when they heard the call to become the first Jew, after he said, oy vey, no, he accepted the call, and God said, you know, get out of here, go from this place to a land that I will show you. And that really was the birth of the Jewish people, the birth of our religion. So eventually, within a few chapters in the Torah, we learn how Abraham becomes Abraham and Sarai becomes Sarah, and that it is the Torah's way of saying that when you are on a journey with purpose, and it's a sacred journey, and you're touched by God, then you're never quite the same. And they signify it by the change of names. It'll happen to Jacob in a few more chapters, who's Yaakov, and he'll become Yisrael. As we follow Abraham's journey from a simple shepherd, we notice that gradually he becomes not just a simple shepherd, he becomes a prosperous shepherd. He's got all kinds of slaves, he's got all kinds of workers. He doesn't just have a little lamb, he's got a herd. And he becomes a very wealthy man. His wife is beautiful, his life is charmed. But it's really not. When you look at the Torah, the tradition says that he is tested 10 times. Perhaps the most awful test is when he's asked to sacrifice his son as a show of faith. But going to Sodom and Gomorrah and trying to get them to change their ways, and he says, God, if I just find 10 people, will you spare the city? And he couldn't find 10. When he goes into another city and he has to say that his wife is his sister, there's lots of tests of faith, of resiliency, of challenges. And we read these different stories about him, and we've been reading about them for thousands of years because we know that part of what makes the Bible so interesting is that the heroes are not always heroic and that they have warts and the Torah doesn't cover them up. We, in retrospect, may idolize them. We may make them into something that they were not. But the Torah doesn't. The Torah shows the mistakes that they make, and we can put ourselves in their shoes and say, what would we have done? Well, that's the journey of the first Jew. So I want to take that theme and talk to you about the journey of the last Jew. The last Jew of Afghanistan. I read this story, and if you read it also, pardon me for reading something that you've already read, but if you haven't, it's a fascinating story of a man who was so imperfect, such a stubborn individual, that we're tempted to idolize him because he was there in Afghanistan and he refused to leave. He was taking care of the sanctuary. I'm not leaving. And yet, this is his story. Soon after the Taliban took power, a couple of months ago, his name made headlines around the world. Zebulon Simantov, age 62. An old, cranky, stubborn, yet determined last Jew of Afghanistan. Few knew that Jews had been in Afghanistan for a long time, just like they were in Iraq and Syria. I mean, Abraham's journey began in what is now Iraq. We were throughout that region, and Afghanistan had its share of Jews. And the Taliban had been there before, and he survived them, so he figured he could do it again. In fact, at one time there were 2 Jews left, and they were imprisoned. And the Taliban let them go because they kept arguing so much that they couldn't take it anymore. So they said, get out of prison, get out of here. Well, this was a little bit different. We're a little bit more uncertain what the craziness would be like. And so there was a focus on him by world Jewry, and everyone wanted him rescued. But he didn't necessarily want to be rescued. But we knew that if he died, a part of us would die. It's a strange thing. When there is a Jew in trouble, we know that we are taught that every Jew is responsible one for the other. And here is this last holdout of a Jew, and it touched all of our hearts. How many times in history have we faced persecution? And so if Simantov was taken and murdered, it would be like a piece of ourselves was taken and murdered. Well, not an easy man to save. Moti Kahana is an Israeli-American businessman who led the rescue operation and would tell anyone that he was the craziest person he had ever met in his line of work. But, as he would say, the personality of the person being saved is immaterial to the mitzvah of rescuing the person. So, he goes to Afghanistan, he organizes this thing, and through technology, they quickly jumped onto 2 WhatsApp groups. Who knows that, besides the cantor, what a WhatsApp is? Okay, well, she tried to teach me WhatsApp. All I could do was say, "What's up, Doc?" But this is WhatsApp. These WhatsApp groups were formed in Afghanistan after the Taliban poured into Kabul on August 15th. One was called Saving Zebulon, and the other Zebulon Simantov. The groups were made up mainly of Jews involved in one way or the other with Muslim countries, most of them rabbis determined to help a Jew in distress. Shortly before Kahana became involved, there was another rabbi of the Ashkenazi community in Istanbul by the name of Rabbi Chitrik, who reached out to the Turkish government on August 16th. He said, "I figured the Americans have issues, but the Turks can talk to the Taliban and get him out." So Chitrik texted Turkey's foreign minister, Mevlut Cavusoglu, they'll make a movie out of this thing and pronounce the names better than I do, asking him if he could help rescue Simintov. And he replied, "We'll do our best." The Turkish foreign ministry asked Chitrik if he could obtain an official request for help from the United States. So then Chitrik reached out to Rabbi Moshe Margaretin. You see, now you know what rabbis do all days, right? Who had also joined the WhatsApp group. And this rabbi leads the Brooklyn, New York-based Tzedek Association, which is an organization focused on rehabilitating white-collar first offender criminals in the United States. So part of this work meant that Rabbi Moshe was connected to politicians. And he reached out to his network and he got a hold of Senator Mark Rubio from Florida, who said, "I'll write the letter." So kudos to Rubio for that. By then, Kahana had become involved. He joined the WhatsApp group on August 18th, and immediately he and Margaretin connected, having collaborated on an earlier unsuccessful attempt to spring Levi Salam Musa al-Merhavi, a Jew in prison in Yemen since 2016. Have I lost you? All right. Kahana said all the rabbis were talking to each other and said, "Yeah, we can do it, we can do it." And the rabbis are praying and the rabbis are talking and they're WhatsApping. See, I'm missing all the fun. You really got to teach me this WhatsApp because I could join this group. Kahana first decided to make sure Simintov wanted to leave. Simintov had lived under the Taliban from 1996 to 2001, managed to survive, even while carrying out a fight with the only other Jew, as I mentioned, Isaac Levy, who's since passed on. And Simintov was a character. And he knew that he was a character, but he didn't know how much. So he approached Simintov and said, "We want to rescue you." And Simintov said, "If you pay me $50,000, you can rescue me." And then a day later he said, "If you can pay me $80,000, you can rescue me." Quite a character. And he said, "We're in the business of saving people only if they want to be saved." We should have turned this over to you, Jerry. What would you have done? The guy wants money to be saved. Then, by the way, oh, here, look at my notes. He ultimately said, "I want $150,000. Well, they were in the middle of drafting the language on the Rubio letterhead when they learned that Zebulun essentially refused to go. And they called up Senator Rubio's office and said, "Thank you so much, but the guy has changed his mind," and they stopped everything. That would have been the end of the movie. With the effort to rescue Simintov on hold, Kahana and the rabbis turned their attention to others. They learned that the Afghan women's national soccer team was at risk, and the Taliban opposed women engaging in anything they defined as non-Islamic behavior. So they reached out to some people from the community and told them about the soccer players, and in 10 hours they secured donations to help them out. In the middle of helping out the soccer team, they learned there's a group of women judges. And they said, "We got to get the women judges out, and we got to get the soccer players out." Oh my God, they kept begging for help. As these rescue efforts proceeded, Simintov changes his mind. He says, "I want to go." And they said, "Look, no, we're on to other things. You missed your chance." And now he's begging them, "I'll let you rescue me for nothing." Like he dropped his price. He kept calling them and calling them. They said, "It's too late. I'm sorry." And he said, "I'm going to keep calling you." And then he just kept calling and calling. By then, the rabbis had become aware that there was an issue regarding Simintov's failure to give his wife, or rather ex-wife, a get, or religious divorce. She and his children made their way to Israel, and he never gave them a proper get, so they couldn't remarry in Israel, and this was over 20 years ago. So these Orthodox rabbis said, "Okay, we'll rescue you, but now we have a condition," which is what? You have to give your wife a get. So he agreed to do it. But they didn't just take his word. They got the paperwork and made him sign it before they would start moving the guy. Well, still in Afghanistan, Simantov promised Kahana that he'd do the divorce. And Kahana explained to Simantov, okay, sign the papers. So he signed the papers. And then, let me look at these notes. He said, look, I'm not sure I want to leave. And they said, no, you signed the papers, you're afraid, you're going to get murdered, this is going to be different than before, and they scared the bejeebers out of him. So he says, okay, I'm going. But you have to take the people in my neighborhood who heard about the rumors that he was going to be rescued, and he said, I can't go unless I can bring some of my neighbors. They go, how many? He goes, 100. 100. He said, we talked about this. We agreed to 18. He goes, 100. They go, 18. This is almost like Abraham, right? Well, ultimately, they settled on 30, and Simantov was the 31st. So it was more than 18 and less than 100. And what a story these people will have. Now we get to near the end of the story. Another problem cropped up when the group reached the border of the neighboring country that was to take them in, which is still secret. And he said, I'm not going across the border unless we all go at the same time. And they explained to him, that's not the way it works. You have to go in groups of 3. He said, no, all of us go at the same time or none of us are going. And this argument occurred over 10 hours. This guy's stubborn. He's a little meshuggah. So they went back and forth, and he wore them out. And finally, after 10 hours, they all crossed the border together. No wonder he got out of prison with arguing with the other Jew. We left on Friday and got to the main city of the country on the eve of Rosh Hashanah, Monday night. So, pretty cool story. Kahana said that the next toughest thing to dealing with Simantov were the rabbis, because they kept calling me every 10 minutes. What's going on? What's going on? It's not just one rabbi. Everybody on that app was saying, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So I don't know if I really want WhatsApp. And he said, you need a psychiatrist for these rabbis, which I understand. And then you need a psychiatrist for Zebulun, and you just need a psychiatrist for the Jewish people. But ultimately, there's a lesson there, right? Whoever saves a life saves a world. And that's the story of one world that was saved in a very circuitous way. Maybe Abraham had it easier than we realize. But this journey, I predict one day will be made into a movie. But for right now, let its story enter our hearts and be a lesson of the passion in which some people will go to save another Jew, even if that Jew doesn't understand that he needs to be rescued. Each one of us has our own journey. Who knows who we will meet, who we will save, who will save us. That's part of being a Jew. It's part of being human. May your journey be filled with unexpected twists, but rich lessons that make your life not only colorful, but filled with meaning. Shabbat Shalom.
So as we celebrate that journey, honor that journey, we also honor the journey of Abraham in this week's Parsha, and we honor our own journeys. Lechi lach to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. Lesimchat chayim, and you shall be a blessing. Lechi lach.
586, we all rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
If there are people in your life you are thinking of tonight in remembrance for Kaddish, or it's the anniversary of their death and you're honoring their yortzeit, please submit those names in the chat at this time. Page 598.
Please be seated. We think of those who have died in recent weeks: William Cleek, Manly Kaloff, Marty Faber, Jerry Cherson, William Weiss, and Nancy Riley. And the yortzeits of Goldie Aberman, Sylvia Biggin, Meyer Bennett, Lawrence Birch, Morris Bloom, Naomi Daly, Denise DeArklin, Alfred Dellin, Irene J. Dellin, Adele Edelman, David Edelman, Charles Etkoff, Donald Feldman, Rosa Garcia, Alan Gardner, Martin Gelb, Cleo Goodman, Jean Gorlick, Fred Jonas, Barbara Carroll, Saul Collins, Norman Kurzweil, Anna Lader, David Lawrence, Martha Lenoble, Esther Moore, David Mazur, Rose Mazursky, Eddie Mintz, Gloria Reed, Jan Reisner, Ellen Rosenblum, Adelaide Sachs, Edward Sanoff, Irving Schiffman, Manny Schwartz, Doris Shapiro, Norma Sirota, David Smith, Isidore Spector, Glenn Wilson. If you'd like to say the name of someone who was not mentioned, please stand and say their name. Paul. Thank you. Thank you.
Bruce Smith.
We rise to recite Kaddish. Yit Kadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah B'yalma Divra Chirute v'yamlich Malchute B'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayedachol Beit Yisrael Bagalav Izman Kari v'yamru Amen Yehesh Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Omei Omaya Yit Barach v'yish Tabach v'yit Ba'ar v'yit Ramam v'yit Naseh V'yit Hadar v'yit Taleh v'yit Alal Shemei Dekusha B'richu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tush v'chata v'nechemata damiram b'yalma v'yamru amen Yehesh lam araba min shamayim v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yamru amen Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to which we say amen. May be seated. I'd like to call upon our Temple President Jerry Gordon to join the cantor for Kiddush and Motzi, and then announcements. And Haley, why don't you come on up as well?
It looks like we have enough juice for our October birthdays to come up and join us as well. Needs to be the bar mitzvah. The where? And God blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Al kain berach Adonai et yom haShabbat vayikadshehu baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Okay, a few announcements, but we'll keep it short. Join us next Friday for Shabbat in the round, and on November 5th, almost a month away, as we have a special guest joining us, Roberta Kane, who's the first Jew ever born, the first Jew born in Las Vegas. I don't remember the family. I thought one of my former law partners was the first one born, but she beat him by about 6 years. So please join us for that service. Also, there is the blood drive on campus on October 24th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. You need to sign up, and more information can be found on the website, CNT website. Okay. June, Israel, Rabbi, and Cantor. But I'd like to throw in one small request, that for the trip you add one item if all possible. And that is that earlier this week they announced they found they excavated about 20 kilometers south of Tel Aviv, the oldest winery known in existence. It was founded, it goes back 2,700 years, but it's not simply a small winery. Apparently it produced, somehow they know, 1 million liters a year. And the wine was shipped throughout the Mediterranean. So I think that would be a worthy addition for to visit an excavation site. So if you're interested in joining in June, go on the website. There's a full description of the trip, including the itinerary. And on November 10th at 6:45 at the temple, there will be an informational meeting. So reach out to Heather in the office for more information and to RSVP. And finally, thank yous to the Rabbi and Cantor, to Haley. Alex on sound is not here, so we're not thanking him. Del, our shamus, and Ricky on piano. And with that, Shabbat Shalom.
So one more announcement. Next Wednesday, right after Talmud class, is going to be our quarterly Compelling Conversations. And I am bringing in being the power of technology, Yoni Sadi, who is not only an expert, he is our regional APAC person. He lives in Los Angeles. That's the great thing about doing it via Zoom, is you can bring these special guests in from different countries or states or wherever. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about in the Middle East. Everything from BDS to, from Trump to Biden to Abraham Accords to the Iran. It's going to be a pretty quick 45 minutes. So that is going to be at 7 o'clock. You can find it by going on Facebook and find the temple's Facebook, and it'll pop up, or you can go to our website, and there'll be a button there, and you can touch the button on the live stream, and you can find it. So please support the Compelling Conversations. It's Talmud class is 5:30 to 6:30, and then half hour later, in a totally different room, click the button and join us for the Compelling Conversation.
So I wanted to say one thing to Jerry. So I know that I really would like you to go on the trip, but I think that sounds like a really interesting journey. But I don't know if you know this, but the wine in Israel is like, it's like not that good. Like it's not like you're a connoisseur.
It's changed.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah, they've had 3,000. How many years? 2,000 years to learn.
But to see where it all started, that would be fascinating, for sure. If you haven't had a chance to meet Haley, she is our staff person that's here tonight that was checking you in. She's waving from the back. And she is our assistant principal for the school. She is amazing. She is jack of all trades, can do lots of things, and she is very sweet, and you should get to know her. Also, you should meet my niece Amaya. She's right here. You may have seen her when she was very young. She's a fan.
Now you're so
like
old.
A fangirl. She made sure to watch during the pandemic every Friday night. Isn't that true? Yeah. So now she knows all the prayers. All right, and we are going to close. I put on the outline Rabbi's choice for closing song.
All right, it was between I've been working on the railroad, Ein Kelohenu or Adon Olam. And what did I pick? You would think that. No, I picked Adon Olam. So here we go, Adon Olam.
Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra leit nasa v'chefzo kol azay melech shemo nigra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hove ve'hu yeh betifara ve'hu echad ve'ein sheni lehamshir lo lehachbira beli reshit beli tachlit ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamisra ve'hu eli ve'chai go'ali ve'tzor chavli be'ein tzara ve'hu nisi umanos li menat kosi be'yom ekra be'yado afkid ruchi be'eit ishan ve'ayira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li ve'lo ira.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Enjoy our oneg right there in the foyer. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you for returning the prayer books.
If you want to know about WhatsApp, you know who to talk to. Ayala.
Well, because Israelis, that's how they talk to each other.
It makes walking the dirt track kind of horrible. I'm like,
Especially the curls, you can't.
yeah.
Get curled up and stay curled.
Yeah. Sit at the piano. So I'll go in Wednesday, see what he says. It should be super easy. I should go in orthoscopically, cut this out, file this off, and I'm good to go. Yeah. I'll be in the gym the next day.